Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, I promise tonight's story will make you question every mirror in your house. Grab a cozy blanket, maybe a flashlight, and get ready, because we're diving into a tale that's going to send shivers down your spine. Tonight, we're venturing into the mirror room. Our story begins with Nora, a woman who absolutely adored old things. Not just any old things, mind you, but items with history, with stories etched into their very essence. And among her many passions, mirrors held a special place in her heart. She loved the way they captured light, reflected life, and whispered secrets of the past. One sunny Saturday, while rummaging through a dusty, eclectic flea market, her eyes landed on it. A mirror. But not just any mirror. This one was tall, majestic, with a frame of deep, polished black wood that seemed to absorb all the light around it. Its surface was unlike anything she'd ever seen. So clear, so pristine. It almost seemed to pulse with an unearthly glow, as if it were truly alive. Nora felt an immediate pull, an undeniable connection to this exquisite piece. As she ran her hand along its cool frame, the old vendor, a man with wise, crinkled eyes and a knowing smile, leaned in conspiratorially. He warned her, his voice a low, gravelly whisper, "Don't stand too close when it's dark." Nora, a practical woman with a healthy dose of skepticism, simply laughed. She brushed off his cryptic warning as quirky seller theatrics. She bought the mirror anyway, her heart thrumming with excitement over her new treasure. She couldn't wait to get it home. That very evening, after carefully transporting her new acquisition, Nora found the perfect spot for it in her bedroom. It stood proudly against a wall, dominating the space with its imposing presence. As night fell and the last rays of twilight faded, Nora went through her usual nightly routine. Finally, she clicked off her bedside lamp, plunging the room into near-total darkness. That's when she saw it. A faint, ethereal glow emanated from the mirror's surface, and there, staring back at her, was her own reflection, still perfectly visible, even in the absolute absence of light. A shiver, not entirely unpleasant, traced its way down her spine. A nervous smile touched her lips. "Creepy," she whispered into the silent room, a playful little challenge to the uncanny sight. And then, from the mirror, from her own reflection, came a whisper, as soft and chilling as a winter's breath. "Yes." Nora's playful smile faltered. Her heart gave a sudden lurch. Had she imagined it? Had the darkness played tricks on her ears? She blinked, her mind racing, but the reflection simply stared back, unwavering. She told herself it was just her imagination, the vendor's warning lingering in her subconscious. She tried to dismiss it, to rationalize it away, but a seed of unease had been planted. Over the next few nights, that seed of unease began to sprout, growing into a creeping dread. The mirror's strange behavior continued, escalating in subtle yet terrifying ways. Nora started noticing things, small discrepancies at first. When she blinked, her reflection didn't always follow suit. Sometimes it would hold its gaze for a fraction of a second longer, a tiny, unsettling delay. She'd turn her head away, her eyes darting back to the mirror, only to find her reflection still staring straight ahead, its gaze fixed on the spot where she had been. It was like watching a paused frame, an echo that hadn't quite caught up. The most unnerving change, however, was the smile. Nora had always considered her own smile to be warm, genuine. But her reflection's smile began to widen, stretching just a little too far, revealing a hint of something predatory, something utterly inhuman. It was a smile she couldn't replicate, a smile that seemed to mock her from beyond the glass. It made her skin crawl. She started avoiding eye contact, turning her back to the mirror whenever she could, but she always felt its unseen gaze upon her. Then came the morning that shattered any lingering doubt. Nora woke up, sunlight streaming through her window, a stark contrast to the dark terrors of the night. She sat up in bed, rubbed the sleep from her eyes, and glanced towards the mirror. Her breath caught in her throat. There, pressed against the pristine surface of the glass, were fingerprints. Not hers. These were darker, smudged, and impossibly on the inside of the mirror, as if someone had pressed their hands against the glass from the other side, trying to get out, or in. Terror seized her. She sprang out of bed, rushing to the mirror, her heart hammering against her ribs. She touched the glass, feeling its cool, smooth surface. She tried to rub the smudges away, but they were stubbornly there, clear as day, a stark, chilling testament to something impossible. She backed away slowly, her mind reeling, her body trembling. What was happening? The vendor's warning echoed in her ears, no longer a quirky anecdote, but a chilling prophecy. That night, Nora barely slept. Every shadow seemed to shift. Every creak of the house magnified into a terrifying omen. At precisely 3 a.m., the hour often whispered about as the witching hour, Nora woke with a jolt, a sound, a rhythmic, insistent tapping. Tap, tap, tap. It wasn't coming from her window or the hallway. It was coming from the mirror. Her eyes, wide with fear, fixated on its dark surface. And there, in the dim light filtering from outside, she saw it. Her reflection's hand. It was moving, tapping against the glass from within, just like the fingerprints she'd seen that morning. Then, slowly, deliberately, the reflection's hand shifted, its fingers curling into a beckoning gesture, motioning her closer. Her breath hitched. Her reflection's lips began to move, forming a single silent word, a word that sent a jolt of pure ice through her veins. Switch. Nora scrambled backward, tumbling off her bed, her heart a wild drum against her ribs. No, she thought, absolutely not. This wasn't a game. This wasn't a dream. This was real. As she stared, frozen in terror, the mirror began to fog from the inside, a swirling mist obscuring her reflection. And then, etched onto the misty surface, a single horrifying word appeared, dripping with urgency and malice. Now. The tapping grew louder, more frantic, a relentless, deafening beat. Tap, 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 crack. A hairline fracture snaked across the glass, spider webbing outwards from the center, a jagged tear in the fabric of reality. Nora screamed, a raw, primal sound ripped from her throat, and she squeezed her eyes shut, wishing it all away. When her neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, knocked on Nora's door later that morning, she was worried. Nora hadn't responded to her usual morning texts, and her car was still in the driveway. The door was unlocked. Mrs. Henderson cautiously stepped inside, calling Nora's name. The house was eerily silent. She checked the kitchen, the living room, then slowly, hesitantly, pushed open the bedroom door. Nora was gone. The bed was unmade. A book lay open on the nightstand, but Nora herself was nowhere to be found. Mrs. Henderson's gaze fell upon the tall, black-framed mirror dominating the room. It stood perfectly clean, no cracks, no fog, its surface gleaming innocently in the morning light. Mrs. Henderson peered closer, her reflection staring back at her. But then, as her eyes adjusted, she noticed something else. Behind her own reflection, in the depths of the mirror, stood another woman. A woman with dark hair and a wide, unsettling smile. A woman who looked remarkably like Nora, but with an unfamiliar cold glint in her eyes. The woman in the mirror wasn't reflecting Mrs. Henderson's room. She was in a bedroom, yes, but it wasn't the one Mrs. Henderson was standing in. And as Mrs. Henderson watched, mesmerized by the chilling image, the woman in the mirror lifted a hand and waved, a slow, deliberate farewell. And that, my friends, is where our tale of the mirror room ends. It leaves us with so many chilling questions, doesn't it? What really happened to Nora? Who or what is now looking out from behind that mirror? And what does it mean when your own reflection isn't truly your own? I hope this story sent a few delightful shivers down your spine. If you enjoyed this journey into the uncanny, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next spooky story. Let me know in the comments below. Would you buy a mirror like Nora's, even after a warning? I'm genuinely curious. Until next time, stay safe, and maybe keep an extra eye on your reflections. Thanks for watching.